is that? I think I do seriously have gray hairs. The children are making me old. Okay, let's see if that works. I don't know if I should turn the fan off. Let's turn the fan off. I got the fan to turn off with the grabber. I'm so proud of me. I've been trying to do that for weeks, and I finally figured out how to do it. Gotta do stories from high school. Let's start with, well, I went to 3 different schools during my high school career. First, freshman year, I went to a Catholic school that was the sister school to the middle school that I went to. I didn't think I would pass the year. I can't remember what they wanted me to do. I think they wanted me to transfer out to the public school. I said, no, I'm going to finish the year, and I did finish the year, and I got mostly C's, but I passed, so poo on them. Although the next year I went to that public school, which I'll talk about when I'm done with this part. I remember doing this project in, I think it was government, and for some reason we was a skit, and it was Jerry Springer show inspired. And I was that bodyguard guy that separates the people. So that way I didn't have a speaking role in the skit. By the way, I know my makeup looks really weird. I was trying to match my skirt, and I didn't do a very good job because I don't have a proper blending brush. The one they have at Kroger's is never available when I put it in the playlist. I think I ordered one from Amazon. It should be coming soon. I just remember that class was really fun though. I liked the teacher. He was a younger teacher. Just a lot of fun. That was his class where I learned that they call Cincinnati the Natty. I'd never heard that before. I sat before his class. I had lunch, and I would sit with this boy every single day at our own table, the first table in the room. Sometimes I would get my sub sandwich. They had a little bar. This was my favorite thing about this school. They had a little bar where you could make your own sub, and once a week I would get a pop and save up some money and make a sub sandwich. Nice boy. He was in my class, in the next class, the government social studies. I think it was government. He was you would call a nerd, I guess. He was really sweet though. Poor kid. He had the headgear for braces. He was that stereotypical nerdy kid. He was very smart. He wore the uniform the way it was supposed to be worn, with the shirt tucked in. So we sat up there every day together and ate lunch together. I don't know if we made that conscious decision, or just one day he decided to sit with me, or asked if he could sit with me, and I said yeah. I didn't care. And it just continued. But one day, a girl I knew from the middle school, she was my age, but because I was held back, she was a year ahead of me. She was already an established student there. She was a cheerleader. Really nice. Really good person. I really like her. And one day I noticed her group of cheerleader friends and her sat on the other side of the room. There was 2 rows of tables. Lost my train of thought. It was the other row over, and then up a few tables was where they sat. And one day I noticed that her and her group were looking at us, and some of them were giggling, and they kept doing it. And then all of a sudden they got up and they came over to our table. I'll never forget this. She asked us if we were dating, and I'll never forget this. We looked at each other looked at her, looked at each other, and then just started laughing. So we were just friends. Um, that's it. Lunch buddies. And the handicapped girl and the nerd. I should look him up. I don't remember his last name. I bet I can find him anyway. I'm sure he stayed there after I left. Oh, I need a drink. My sinuses are draining. Killed a gnat. Um, in computer class. I think I knew this boy in my computer class. I think I knew him like through a family. I think it was the same boy. It might have been. I don't know. Our teacher was one of those teachers where he would one day, most of the class he slept, the boy. And I also noticed he was messaging a girl whose name I recognize. I don't know if it's the same girl that I knew. It might have been. Okay, so this portion is missing, but I just want to say that the teacher that we had in computer was one of those that would, as soon as he was done filling the chalkboard, he started erasing. Didn't matter if somebody wasn't done. If you weren't done writing it all down, you had to find somebody to copy off of, or you were out of luck. So, yeah, he was that kind of teacher. Through the whole class, he was either sleeping or texting her. Not texting, I think it was on the computer on Messenger. Probably AIM. We get to the end of class, and he wakes up. He's like, hey, did you take notes? I'm like, oh, sorry, man. He was too fast. I couldn't do it. No, I'm sorry. No, you're not going to sleep all the way through class and then shoot off my notes? No, No. They went to church in this humongous, like, really old, ornate church that was across the street. And this was like a busy street. I just remember having to walk across there. Interesting that I remember one time we were standing outside waiting for the bus, and there was this guy walking by, hands hanging down. You could see his boxers. They were smiling at emoji boxers. I don't know why that memory just sticks out in my brain. Of course, all through high school, I had a special lock on my locker. I cannot do those. I will put a picture of one type combination locks. There was no way I could ever work one of those. So each school that I went to, I was able to get this kind. Or if my locker was in a special area, so that I don't think it was. I don't think that there was like a special bathroom area for me for this school. I did get out of gym, and I got transferred to the computer class from a religious studies class, which I took for like a few weeks, and then got transferred. I know I had a shut malfunction because I remember vividly being in the government class and just having horrible headaches that year. The most interesting and creepy thing that happened, the school was converted from a convent. And I think there was like two buildings, like one in front of the other. Like the old building and then this building. And I took remedial reading that year. And there was an elevator. I just remember one time I went to take it to go to remedial reading. The class is in an older part of the school. It just seemed like a whole different world. And I think it was because it was one level above where I ended up going one time on the elevator. So I get on the elevator, and I don't remember what level I was supposed to go to. I went to this one level, I opened the door open. Total darkness. Complete darkness. And I don't know how I had the courage to do this. I stepped off of it, off the elevator, into the hallway. Complete darkness. And it was like a scene from like a horror movie. It was darkness, and there was I could see nothing down one way. Down the other way, the sun was coming in the windows of one of the old rooms, so it was a little bit illuminated. Desks in the hallway, just furniture everywhere. It was so weird. I don't know how I had the courage to step off the elevator. I should not have. It freaked me out. I jumped back on, prayed that nothing like appeared in the doorway as the door was closing, and nothing did. I made sure I hit the right button from then on. Mm, it was an interesting year. Sophomore year. I went to the public school that was associated with the middle school that I went to. And I had to live with my aunt and my cousins in order to be eligible for open enrollment. So, my sophomore year, I lived with them. This was the year I had the most boring class of my entire high school career. Like, I had never had trouble staying awake in a class. This class, there were many times, and we didn't have desks because it was a music class. It was music appreciation. And it was the band room, so it was just the band seating, no desks. But I almost fell asleep multiple times. Really nice guy. He wasn't a mean teacher or anything. He was just so gosh darn boring. For when we got to bring in our own CDs, every once in a while we'd do like a rotation, a different person would bring in their own CDs, and we got to evaluate the music on it. I used to torture everybody and bring in a country CD. I won't be ashamed. I like country music stuff. I don't know when it became cool to hate country music, but at some point it just became a thing. Biology was fun. I was a football coach. Um, and I remember the boyfriend to the girl that was one of my friends and who went with me to the next school I'll be talking about sat behind me. He sat behind me in class and he slept in that class a lot. I remember one time, teacher throwing a chalk eraser at him, which means it went over my head. This might have been two different biology classes because that one we had the stool seats with the raised counters we had to sit at, and the other one I remember was regular desk seating. I remember one time we were going to watch a video. I think I was asked to pull the blinds up or pull them down or pull them up. I don't remember. And I had an accident. As soon as I stood up, it was messy. It was horrible. I just remember the end of that class booking it out of there, hoping nobody noticed. Somebody did, I know, but nobody ever mentioned it. And my cousin Stephanie was in that class with me, so I'm sure she made sure nobody made fun out. I know she did. There was several times. So it gave me a little emotional because we don't really talk anymore. But she had me back in high school. I found out that a few times she told some people off for teasing me. And I really appreciate that. I took home ec, and she wasn't in that class with me. The other girl that I really liked from my elementary school, actually, was in that class with me. I just remember one time was this class. Home ec was at the end of the day, and I was allowed to leave early to get to the bus before everybody else. Oh, I should preface this by saying I had a special locker for this school. It was in the girls' locker room. I have lots of privacy. I was on the story about home ec. I remember doing a few projects like this pillow, which I don't think I can find a picture of. It's probably in my closet. It's probably in that bag with all the stuffed animals from my apartment. It was just a little blue heart pillow. I think I did 2 pillows because the project lasted a really long time. And I think I started out using the machine because that's what you're supposed to do. And I think I ended up hand sewing it, which is my forte. I don't use the machine, it's too difficult. I can't work the foot lever properly, and my foot doesn't flex the way everybody else does. If they make one for people who have that issue. I remember one time, um, I had a problem with this classes because they glossed over checkbooks. They did they went over it on our last day of school, literally, like real quick. Like, oh, let's just do this real quick. So you do this and this and this and this and this. That was that. So that's why, for the longest time, I would have to Google an image of a check that's like filled out, like the John Doe, blah, 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 whenever I wrote a check. For the longest time, I had to do that because I didn't know where to write anything, what to write, and how to write. I was always afraid I would write out the dollar amount incorrectly. One time we were in there and I was gassy, and it just kept. It was one of those that came out in like a long succession. It was high pitched. I tried to blow it off as it was like the air system, so I think that's what they thought at first. Then I started fidgeting to try to make it stop, and they caught on that it was me, and there was some laughing. But I was finally able to leave the classroom, and I booked it out of there. It didn't come up again. Like nobody ever made up a funny name for me or whatever. It taunted me for the rest of the school year or anything like that. Movies and TV blow things out of proportion. Kids, remember that. I was always worried that I would have to dissect a frog. I didn't do that. I didn't have to do that at all. I think the only thing I ever dissected was a bean in 6th grade, and that was it. And then there was homecoming. It was me and my cousin and her date. Like a group thing there. I sat with her and some of my other friends. And I ended up being everybody's shoe and purse guard for most of the night. Except for at one point I wanted to dance with this one boy. And he had his girlfriend at the time, and she was not very nice to him. When I finally found him, he was literally almost in tears because she was berating him. I don't know what for. She wasn't a nice person. So I don't think I got to dance with him then. But I did get to dance awkwardly with one of my friends' brothers because she made him. It was sweet. It was really sweet of her. I didn't know him. I had seen him around the school, but I didn't know him. It was just the most awkward 3 minutes ever. But it was sweet. Senior and junior year. And that was at a vocational school. And some of the kids took the public school part of the day and the vocational school part of the day. I opted to just take the whole day at the vocational school. It was for both junior and senior year. They had a restaurant program, and that was for people with disabilities, but I didn't really want to do that. Not sure I really knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't want to do that. It was really cool though. It was like a little frishes. And I had several friends in the program. One I would see later for Project Search, which was a program for people with disabilities at Children's Hospital after high school. But yeah, it was a little frishes on the 2nd floor. And they had an open floor plan. The second row, the second floor. You could see down to the first floor, and there's just like this walkway all the way around. I opted to do one of the computer programs, and what they actually had us do was, like, the first week of school, we rotated to a different computer program each day, and at the end of the week, we chose the one that we wanted. And I ended up choosing the one I picked because of the people in the class, and I probably would have been more suited for one of the other ones. I picked the group of people that I was with. Don't regret that. I like those people. I like the experiences I got. I ended up picking e-commerce, which there was computer programming, which were the like, were so smart. Those kids were like another level. And then there was like an HTML class. I think that was it. I think so. I should have done that class, honestly, because that was more up my alley. But again, I liked the class that I was in for the e-commerce group. The group was funny. They were a fun group of people. The teacher was really nice. I had actually met him before. To another prom before I went to this school for my junior year. I should probably tell that story first before I get into too much about this school. It was a literal blind date. My sister was on the special soccer team. She's so freaking talented at it. And the mom of one of the girls was like the person who would lead this blind kid around his school, like help him around. I don't know what that's called. Aid, I guess. I guess it's called an aid. And my mom and this lady got together and they were like, we should hook those two. So we went to prom. So we went over to his house, and he was a collector of like model cars, and it was something impressive. Like, he had a game on his game console. I can't remember what it was, what game console or the game. So I don't remember those things. But he was like able to tell me what car it was from the engine revving and all that, which I thought was really cool. And then he was able to describe all of his model cars to me. He was like really into it. Very impressive. Yeah. We got to the after prom. There was like multiple themes going on. Like in their auditorium, they had a movie theater thing going on. They had a casino, a little like cafe, outdoor cafe type of thing going on inside, but it had like twinkle lights and just looked really pretty. And then the bathroom was under the sea theme. I was a terrible aid person that evening though, because I kept walking him into chairs. I had to like project my voice so he could hear me. And for some reason, I remember I saw like an old friend of mine and the e-commerce teacher at this school's after prom. Clearly, his kid like went to that school, and he was chaperoning. He was like doing one of the casino nights. He had on one of those visor thingies. For some reason, I never brought it up when I met him, but I remember it clearly now. It was him. He was both my e-commerce teacher and he was at this after prom. I never mentioned it to him. I don't know why. Like the first week of school, I had like a crush on this one boy in our class. Just quickly dissipated because he started doing this really gross thing where he would just like all the time, all the time, all the time, and it kind of killed it for me. He would never blow his freaking nose, and I think our president of our class actually called him out on it one time, and he said, "No, because then we all drive." Which is that's the point. But she ended up telling him. Hi. Okay, so the she I'm referring to is a friend from that school and from the public school. Um, I started talking about her, started to bring her up at the beginning of the story, so it makes sense later, but it didn't make sense the way I was explaining it, so I cut it out. So now it sounds like I'm referring to the president of her class as that friend, but that's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about a different person who had told this boy that I liked him before I could tell her, no, I don't. So after that, he would spend a lot of time sitting on the edge of my desk. We had these cubicle situations going on in our classroom, our own little office space. And he would sit on the edge of mine and just try and flirt. So we're actually Facebook friends now. We had night school gym at this school. I had to take that, and it was a lot. I think indoor board games for the most part. I remember I did a thing where the first day we had to go to, we were supposed to walk around the track or run around the track. I didn't want to do that. I don't know if I ended up slipping in mud anyway. And I went back to the bathroom to clean up, and I just stayed there for the rest of that time period. Yeah, we watched sports movies, played board games, and that was night school gym. And one of the people in my class from e-commerce was in that class with me. He was really nice. He had some peculiar friends. They were nice, except for one of them. One of them that was nice, I had brought in yellow ribbons for Spine Movement Awareness Month, and he pinned it to his skin. Yeah, well, nothing out of high school, but one of his friends. You're weird. You're so weird. But nice. Weird but nice. I'll take that. There's another guy I did have a crush on, and he actually gave me my nickname that I used all through high school after he gave it to me. I was just writing it everywhere. He was our treasurer. Very smart guy. And I will never know if he's the one that put the rose in my locker, because at one point the computer programming group was doing a sale, and they were we doing the sale? No, we were doing the sale. It was roses, and I got one in my locker, and I never figured out who gave it to me. No one ever told me. I remember I was gonna ask him prom. I can't remember if it was junior or senior year. But I saw the prettiest girl in our class ended up asking him, and he turned her down. So I was like, "There's no way he's gonna say yes to me." But I was to tell you, if you're gonna do that, do it. Do not do it because you will regret it for ever. All the what ifs will drive you crazy. So just ask him anyway, or her. Ask them. Couldn't hurt. If they say no, go with a group of friends. I ended up going with my cousin and her boyfriend. But we sat with a group of friends. We had this competition we had to go to for the e-commerce group, and it was supposed to be part of our grade because we were supposed to dress in business attire, and part of it was a written quiz which I took, and then the other part was we were supposed to go in front of judges and they were going to ask us questions. I didn't go to that portion of the competition, so I had to make up for it. I had to do a presentation to make up for it. I couldn't do it. I ended up instead. I went to this guy. He was a motivational speaker, comedian type dude. I went and saw him instead. There was a teacher that did not like me because for most of the time her class was after lunch, and I have poor time management skills. So I would be extremely late because then I would decide as soon as the bell rang that I had to go to the bathroom after lunch. And of course, that took a minute or two. Uh, and so I would get to her class late, like every single day. But there was nothing she could say about it. Because I had an exception. She was allowed to, like, time me for being in the bathroom, And then the teachers were. So I would always get, like, the stink eye from her when I would enter in her classroom, which was algebra 2. 2. I remember one time when I went to the bathroom, I had an accident and I was changing. I should have gone with it to one of the other more, like, secluded bathrooms. There was another one behind the e-commerce area that not many people went to. It was just like at the back. There wasn't a whole lot of traffic in that direction. I didn't. I went to the one in front where it was more front of the building. And this girl like peeked through the little area. I was like, "Are you changing your clothes? Why are you changing your clothes? None of your business." I think I always told people because I wanted to. That's why. Oh, I remember at the DECA competition, but I also got I was in my manual wheelchair, and going into the building, it was like a rainy day, or it had rained, or something like that. And so it was muddy, and there was like this whole bunch of people going into the building at once. And of course, certain people are rude and don't know how to wait for their turn. So I ended up in the mud at one point, getting stuck in. I believe my teacher and several students had to help me out, and I had it like all up my side. So I had to deal with that too. I was late to class on one of my English classes because people from the TV show Survivor, like the season 1 or 2, I'll put his picture up. I got his autograph. I got him to sign my ID that we had to take at the beginning of the year. We had to take those Iowa tests to graduate. It was so hard. I finally got. I think I had to take like the science part twice, and I ended up taking the math one at least 3 or 4 times the last time. They had us in like the tutor classes, and I remember my friend arguing that she didn't think I should get special treatment on that. Whatever. But anyway, they ended up putting me in a room in the secretary's office, in like the office. The office had like this little square room, big square room, and all the different desks. And then there was like this little room with just like a table and chairs in it. And she put me and another girl in there to do the math portion for the last time. This would be the last time I had to take it. And the only reason I passed is because me and the girl, we didn't tell each other the answers. We told each other how to do the problem, how we did the problem. And I figured that's the only way I passed that test. I remember when we graduated, it was cicada time, and I could just hear them, just a buzzing. I had 3 graduations. I had the public school graduation. To practice, the boy behind me in alphabetical order, which I knew who he was supposed to help push me up the ramp to get to the dean to get my diploma. And then he would get his next. It came time, and dude did not help me up the ramp. So, and it was carpeted. It was very difficult. And one of the deans ended up jumping like over the railing of the ramp off from the stage that he was sitting on and pushing me up to the other one. And I remember just getting a lot more applause because of that. trying to remember the vocational school graduation, and I'm blending the two together. So there's another boy that I kind of liked. He was from the public school, and I told one of my other friends, and she ended up telling him and asking him to prom for me, and he basically said that no, because he thought of me as a sister, which was really sweet. I remember he did our speech, like representing our school or whatever, and I remember staying behind after graduation was over. I was like, just tell him how good he did because he looked terrified through the whole thing. And then another boy that I had liked from the other school and from middle school also did a speech. I remember saying hi to him and telling him how good he did. That was for the public school graduation, though. He didn't go to the vocational school. And then third graduation was for the project search class that I took. Senior year, my cousin was on the prom committee, and for some reason she forgot that I was allergic to balloons. So we walked in there and there were balloons everywhere. I'm like, Steph, what's going on? So she ended up having everybody like move all the balloons to one side of the auditorium so I can go to that side the entire thing. We had a friend who I actually knew for a really long time, and I had seen at the after school or after prom party thing. He was a dancer because he was in a cog dancing group with my parents at one point, and he was there he was there dance competing with this other guy, the DJ or whatever. I remember trying to get pictures of him doing the dance moves, but I would have my timing off every single time, and I would only get the other guy doing dance moves, and my friend was kind of standing there. But it was fun, and at one point, one of the guys I really liked from middle school asked to dance with me. Okay, so he asked me to dance, and I was in my wheelchair, so he ended up kneeling down and dancing with me that way. And then at one point, the rest of my friends joined in, and we were all like dancing in a circle. It was really sweet. It was a really nice moment. And here's a picture of me and him. Yeah, I don't know what's happening. I keep like forgetting tidbits. I'm gonna have like a little thing at the end with bits and pieces that I don't feel like inserting into the correct space into the video because I'm doing that all day and I'm exhausted. So yeah, you're gonna get like a little outtakes. But he did go to my graduation / birthday / my sister's birthday party. / yeah, it was my 18th birthday. Same time. Remember when he got there, I like ignored everybody else until he had to leave. He was like going to like his cousin's soccer team to like say a prayer before the game. So he was dressed to the nines, which he always was. I remember he came to the job that I worked at the school one time, and the teacher like, or my teacher, the principal, I thought was really sweet. She just kind of let me talk to him all day, which was really cool. We had lunch together. We just talked the whole work day. It should also be noted that I had dressed up that day. Not knowing he was coming, I was wearing makeup. I wore a nice outfit and jewelry, which I didn't do on a daily basis. So, yeah. But yeah, that's what I remember about high school. Okay, bye. When I went shopping for the homecoming prom dress,
I ended up just picking out like 3 dresses and immediately going for the one that fit me the best, which also happened to look like Rose's dress from Titanic. And so one Halloween, we went to the ballet. My cousin and I went with my grandmother. It was around Halloween time, and we heard that there was a contest, a costume contest. So we were going to dress up. I wore the rose dress. She wore a white t-shirt and jeans and like this makeup powder all over to like signify like dirt, like she was in like a wreck or something. We get there and it had either been the weekend before or the day before, so we missed the costume contest. But at least I looked ballet appropriate. Maybe a little overdressed, but yeah. She, on the other hand, stood out like a sore thumb. I thought it was funny.
story. It's a quick little thing. The girl that told the boy that I liked him right before he started doing the disgusting little habit he had. She she was a friend of mine, and we sat like together in every class at the vocational school. And one time I was out sick for a couple of days, and I had somebody there that I knew since like childhood. We went to the same church, and he must have heard from his mom, from my mom at church that I was sick. It was something about my kidneys, but I don't know how many people he told this to, or if it was just her, or how he even knew to tell her that I was friends with her, because we weren't talking. I tried to be friends with him when we got older, but he didn't really want to. So I don't know how he managed to know to pass this news on to her, but he told her that my kidneys were shutting down. So one day I come into school after being sick, and she has this like look on her face, like, "Oh my God, you're okay." And I found out what she had heard. Um, I had to talk her down from the ledge. Like, no, it was just a minor infection. I'm okay. This sort of thing happens from time to time with me. So, we her and me had like an on and off friendship type of thing. Sometimes she wasn't very nice to me. Very, I don't know if tumultuous is the right word because I've never used that word before, but it might be. I just wanted to add that. So, okay,